We've been taught to trust appearances. If someone looks fine, we assume they're fine. If they're functioning, we assume they're coping. If they're productive, we assume they're okay. Think about how often we do this, almost automatically. Someone shows up to work every day. They respond to messages. They laugh at the right moments. They don't complain, and we quietly tick a mental box. They're good. Over time, looking fine stopped being an observation and it became an expectation. Not something anyone announces. No one sits you down and explains it, but somehow you learn it early. You learn that being composed is praised, being functional is rewarded, and being easy, emotionally, practically, makes people more comfortable around you. You learn when people say things like, "You are so strong, you handle things so well, I don't know how you do it," and it sounds like a compliment. Until you realize what it actually means is, "Please keep doing this without needing anything from us." This isn't just about illness. It shows up everywhere. It shows up in grief. When someone loses a parent, a sibling, a partner, and after a few weeks, people stop asking how they're really doing because they are back at work now. They are dressed fine. They are functioning. It shows up in burnout when someone is exhausted to the bone but still delivering, still meeting deadlines, still showing up on Zoom with their camera on. So no one thinks to check in. It shows up in financial pressure when someone is barely holding things together but they still look presentable, still joke, still avoid asking for help because they don't want to seem like a burden. It shows up in caregiving, people taking care of children, parents, relatives, quietly absorbing stress, responsibility, and fatigue because that's just what you do. The common thread is this: as long as you don't fall apart publicly, people assume they're fine privately. The problem is that our compassion has rules. It wants proof, it wants visible struggle, it wants pain that looks familiar, and ideally, pain that has a clear beginning and a neat ending. We understand a broken leg, we understand hospital beds, we understand tears at a funeral, but sustained quiet strain, ongoing pressure, invisible load, that makes people uncomfortable. So when someone doesn't collapse, when they don't cry in public, when they don't miss work, when they still look put together, we assume there's nothing to worry about. What we don't see is the effort it takes to keep looking fine, the mental calculations, the self-editing, the constant checking. How much can I say without making this awkward? How honest is too honest? How much of myself can I show and still be accepted? Because looking fine often isn't honesty, it's strategy. It's what people do when they've learned, consciously or not, that explaining themselves costs too much. Too many follow-up questions, too much skepticism, too many "have you tried?" Too much minimizing. So they learn to be low maintenance. They learn to say, "I'm okay," when they're not. They learn to downplay things. They learn to joke. They learn to carry things quietly. Not because they are strong in some heroic sense, but because it's easier than negotiating belief. Because there's a unique exhaustion that comes from having to convince people that your experience is real. So people adapt. They edit themselves. They soften their language. They present a version that feels acceptable. And over time, that version becomes what people expect from them. The irony is this: the people who seem the most stable, the most capable, the most together are often doing the most invisible work. They are managing emotions, responsibilities, expectations, and pressure behind the scenes, without applause, without acknowledgement, without relief. And when empathy is based only on what we can see, we miss most of what people are actually living with. We miss the contest, we miss the strain, we miss the quiet trade-offs people make just to keep going. So maybe the better question isn't why didn't they say anything? Maybe the question is, what made it feel unsafe to speak in the first place? What reactions taught them that silence was easier? What moments showed them that being honest would be inconvenient, awkward, or dismissed? Because most people don't stay quiet for no reason. They stay quiet because experience taught them to. And that's the real cost of looking fine.